If you could tell Donald Trump anything tonight, what would you tell him?
I would tell him to grow a spine and stop being Putin's hoe.
Wait a minute. What was that? Hi, welcome to Street Politics. I'm Reese Waters. Now, I first of all want to give a shout out to Roland Martin over at the Black Star Network, as well as everybody associated with the State of the People 24-hour marathon for giving us some really dope alternatives to, well, you know what.
He's spewing all kinds of nonsense and bullshit. Let me just be real. And we weren't gonna sit for that shit. We wouldn't. You know, we showed up. And if he had some sense, then maybe we would have been about that life. But y'all know he ain't got no sense.
Because just in case you missed it, Reverend Boebert was cooking.
Someone asked me the question the other day, what do you do when you have an administration in office that violates what God hates every day? You look at the 6 things that God hates: a proud look, shedding innocent blood, lying, stirring up the community. Every day, what do? We come from many traditions, but we are united by the moral proposition that Abraham Lincoln called our ancient faith and the conviction that all people share an equality. In the face of a tyrannical king who refused to hear the positions of his subjects, this moral conviction that we are created equal and endowed with undeniable rights united our nation in its Declaration of Independence. When the tyranny of chattel slavery, not just slavery, but chattel slavery, threatened to destroy our nation, this moral commitment to equality and freedom sustained a long and painful struggle to not only preserve our union, but also to reconstruct it by guaranteeing equal protection under law. When the tyranny of white supremacy reasserted itself under the guise of separate but equal was constitutional, a moral movement of everyday people tapped the power of nonviolence to compel the nation once again to face the truth about equality and freedom and repent of the ways that it had been betrayed.
Now that sounds like a leader, and it certainly sounds like a Christian. Meanwhile,
the word here that I would use to describe Trump is awful. In fact, the only person who does worse than Trump does right now with a +1 net approval rating is himself back in 2017 when he was at -8. So he's doing better than he was.
I was going to say, you could put it another way. He's making gains.
He's making gains, but he's doing worse than everybody else.
Was they really booing him like that? Cause I like a good booing. Okay, anytime something's getting booed, I am here for that. You know what I mean? I will come if they call me and tell me, hey, they out here booing, I will leave my home. I will put on a proper shirt and go down there and participate in the boo. So maybe I'll just take a quick peek.
The president has been really adamant about having these members of Congress come over to the White House. It's one of the biggest tools that the president can use.
Hey, C-SPAN. Yeah, hey, who cut to Musk right after they said Trump's biggest tools? Yeah, it was you? Hey, give him a raise.
The President of the Senate, at the direction of that body, appoints the following senators as members of the committee on the part of the Senate to escort the President of the United States into the House chamber. The senator from South Dakota, Mr. Thune. The senator from Wyoming, Mr. Barrasso. The senator from Arkansas, Mr. Cotton. The senator from Oklahoma, Mr. Lankford. The senator from West Virginia, Mrs. Capito. The senator from South Carolina, Mr. Scott. The senator from New York, Mr. Schumer. The senator from Illinois, Mr. Durbin. The senator from Minnesota, Ms. Klobuchar. The senator from New Jersey, Mr. Booker. The senator from Wisconsin, Ms. Baldwin.
The members of the Escort Committee will exit the chamber through the lobby doors.
Hey, you know what? With that raise comes some added responsibilities. Yeah, we need you to help escort the president, cause nobody else will. And just in case you were wondering just what the indicators are of a mandate, how you know that you have a mandate from the American people is when the people whose job it is to escort you to your speech refuse to do so. That's how you know. That's how you know you got them. That's it right there. And as bad as that was, it got worse.
We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country.
Now, you ever remember back in the day when you got into a squabble on the playground or something like that, and your mama found out and she wanted to intervene, and you said no, even though it was going to be a difficult battle to fight. You knew it was going to be more embarrassing for your mama to show up on the playground than it was for you to take an ass whooping. Yeah, we all are aware of that. We've been electing Democratic or Republican congressmen for a really long time. And it's been people in Congress of both parties for a really long time. And I'm old enough to remember when you didn't have to have a coordinated response to drown out the booze. Y'all would have been better off just sitting down. In fact, you should be used to it. That's what you do every day at work.
And won counties in our country, 2,700 to 525, on a map that reads almost completely red for Republican.
Did that make you feel good? That make you feel good, Donnie, to say a map that read almost completely red for Republican while you get booed in the room of elected officials that were elected by these same people? All Republican, right?
Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
They gonna remove Al Green? Everybody else was booing? You know what? They would blame us. They would blame us. Everybody they're sitting there booing and they gonna blame us. And look at the brother behind him. He like, I ain't gonna look cause I know if I move, I'm guilty by association. So I'm gonna stay frozen and hope they don't see me. Al Green don't care. He like, here I am. In fact, take me to the river. Nah, don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be all right. Yeah. Matter of fact, I was tired of being alone. Yeah. Nah, I'm going to see Belle. Belle. A little country boy. Belle. Hey, yeah, y'all call me. Call me. When you wanna find a love and happiness again. Come and asking me, how can you mend a broken heart? That's enough of that. Belle, anything that I need.
Members are directed.
Now wait, was they singing, hey, 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 goodbye? Huh. So they must think we ain't have video of Biden's State of the Union then, huh? Okay, all right. So just so I'm clear, we are removing any vehicle that you have to express dissent. Something that I've seen in them town halls. Just making sure the level of hustling backwards that we're doing, Republicans.
Instead of making the wealthy pay their fair share, some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the proposal.
And speaking of hustling backwards, Black MAGA has entered the chat. Oh yeah, it was actually stipulated contractually. They could not even address this situation without using the word ghetto. Yeah, that is, y'all know their deal.
And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would wipe out entire nations, or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history, or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical.
Oh, that's strong. That's strong. And shout out to the cameraman for getting that in frame like that. That got to be the best sign situation we gon'. Oh, it's not? Man, C-SPAN on their game today. They on their game today. I mean, they pitching a no-hitter. I mean, next thing, they wasn't done?
We believe that whether you are a doctor, an accountant, a lawyer, or an air traffic controller, you should be hired and promoted based on skill and competence, not race or gender. Very important.
Skill and competence going directly to Boebert. I mean, this is a masterclass. This is a masterclass right here. And the reason why I like it even more is they won't get it. They won't get none of it, because you would have to be skillful and or competent in order to understand that. That's why they let them get away with the egg thing.
Joe Biden especially let the price of eggs get out of control. The egg price is out of control, and we're working hard to get it back down.
Now, hold up. Hello? Did you know Joe Biden's still in charge of egg prices? Yeah. I had no idea. No, because it makes me wonder how long he has been in charge of egg prices. Because I couldn't afford eggs when I was in college. I think he might have been in charge then. Hey, Trump, this you?
Groceries, like almost, who uses the word? I started using the word. The groceries, when you buy apples, when you buy bacon, when you buy eggs, they would double and triple the price over a short period of time. And I won an election based on that. We're going to bring those prices way down.
Their grift is so sloppy, I wouldn't be surprised if he started selling green cards. No.
With that goal in mind, we have developed in great detail what we are calling the Gold Card, which goes on sale very, very soon. For $5 million, we will allow the most successful job-creating people from all over the world to buy a path to U.S. citizenship. It's like the green card, but better and more sophisticated.
And it's at this point, I'm thinking Elon Musk got to be furious, and especially his son. He's sitting at home confused, like, why the president not speaking? Not even an acknowledgement.
It's very simple. And the days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over.
There it is. We finally got one. Oh, look at the Democrats. The Democrats walking out now.
What did you think of Trump's speech?
My speech is going to be better.
Felt really dirty, first of all. Yeah. But everything started off just all wrong, right? Like, I was sitting next to Melanie Stansberry, who was on the aisle, and Melanie literally had a sign that said, "This is not normal." And so she stood there as he walked in, and then a colleague from across the aisle decided to snatch her sign, throw it up, and ball it up and throw it on the floor. And Melanie's like, "Oh my gosh!" And so, she wasn't doing anything like what Marjorie does, ever, right? No hooping, no hollering, no none of that or whatever.
Just in case you want a reference of what Marjorie does.
I'll give you a copy.
And so, we literally, she was like, "I'm ready to go." And it was before he began speaking. And I was like, "Girl, I am too." But we had an agreement because we wanted to walk out in a group. But then Al Green threw everything off, and Al Green went off on his own to do something different, and we had no idea.
Well, Green said, you ought to be with me. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la.
But I think that the people want to know that we are frustrated just like them. And we are. We're very frustrated. We're limited in our numbers, but we are not limited in heart. So just know, like, we are here to fight. But we need you. We need you to make sure that you're paying attention in all the elections, the city elections, the county elections, the state elections, because those are the people that are going to push back against this administration. And listen, we're only 3 seats away from taking the House, and if I have my way, we'll take it before the 2-year mark. We've got 3 special elections that are coming up, 2 in Florida and 1 in New York. And I know a lot of people want to say, there's no way, Rep, there's no way. Listen, there's no way if we don't try. But we know that it was a special election that brought us Doug from Alabama to the Senate, a Democrat. We know it was special elections that got us 2 Democrats out of Georgia to the Senate. Listen, when we unite, we can get it done. And listen, the facts are on our side. The things that we're fighting for, they're not just for Democrats, they're for everybody. And so if we want to protect veterans, if we want to protect farmers, if we want to protect hospitals, then it all starts with making sure that we can have real conversations about those things. It's not about Democrats or Republicans. It's not about rural versus urban. What it's about is whether or not we are going to be the united or divided states of America.
Now, the incident that she referenced was actually caught on camera. You can see it right here. That was Representative Lance Gooden snatching a sign out of a fellow congressman's hand and tossing it. Quick question to MAGA. I could ask Black MAGA specifically, but I'm just going to ask MAGA. Was that ghetto? Y'all like to throw that around. Was Lance Gooden ghetto, or is this what we're doing now, right? This is what we're doing now. What when they talking to me about a sense of decorum, wasn't that what it was? A sense of decorum, right? So yeah, I'm sure I'll be looking for them to say absolutely nothing about that. But speaking of statements, Jasmine Crockett released one of her own on behalf of those who walked out, which was certainly far more eloquent than anything that was happening inside.
Bear with me, and they did probably have to bear with me again, and this will be even better. That was great. The problem with it was that Biden didn't enforce it. He didn't enforce it. $50 billion of purchases, and we were doing great, but Biden did not enforce it, and it hurt our farmers. But our farmers are going to have a field day right now. So to our farmers, have a lot of fun. I love you too. I love you too.
Hey, you hear that, farmers? Yeah, y'all gonna have a field day, which could mean things are going to get better. But probably means he'll let y'all come back once a year and do hacky sack races and stuff like that, like we used to have a field day back in the day. Judging by the state of things, I will go with B.
The widespread presence of abusive behavior in the digital domain affects the daily lives of our children, families, and communities.
And once it passes the House, I look forward to signing that bill into law. Thank you. And I'm going to use that bill for myself, too, if you don't mind. Because nobody gets treated worse than I do online. Nobody.
I know you were talking about online, but how about at HUD? Would that count? Does HUD count?
And I also have a message tonight for the incredible people of Greenland. We strongly support your right to determine your own future. And if you choose, we welcome you into the United States of America. We need Greenland for national security and even international security, and we're working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security, and I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it.
Hey, Donnie, yeah, you can't, don't say one way or another. That don't sound good coming from you. That's just, some things we can't go with, post-judgment.
The problem is the bad guys don't respect the law, but they're starting to respect it, and they soon will respect it.
Who wrote this speech? I mean, Hannibal Lecter? Like, who put that in there for Trump to say? I mean, y'all, now I see why y'all don't participate in the legislating. Y'all don't help this man better than that? Got him embarrassing himself like that.
To further enhance our national security, my administration will be reclaiming the Panama Canal, and we've already started doing it. Just today, a large American company announced they are buying both ports around the Panama Canal and lots of other things having to do with the Panama Canal and a couple of other canals.
Did you see Rubio's face? He didn't have no idea. He literally had, he's learning about it as we are. Yeah, that's what you call transparency. Yeah, that's what you call transparency when the cabinet members are on the same level of understanding and knowledge as we the people. That's woo. He like, ooh, I'm glad they didn't put that on the test. I am, because I would have missed that one. Yeah, I would have.
And we have Marco Rubio in charge. Good luck, Marco. Now, we know who to blame if anything goes wrong. Marco's been amazing, and he's going to do a great job. Think of it, he got 100 votes.
Y'all thought he was playing? Y'all thought he was playing? Marco knows he's not playing. Oh, yeah. You know exactly who to blame if anything goes wrong about the thing that he had no idea about 10 seconds ago. That is 100% correct. Another thing to take from that, he talked about Marco getting 100 votes in the confirmation. And this speaks to how important context is. See, the strategy I would always have as a kid is give my parents a really bad option and then slide in the mediocre option that they would have rejected if it was up against anything decent. So Marco Rubio, just completely in a vacuum out of context, ain't nobody check up on Marco Rubio. You put Marco Rubio next to Kristi Noem and RFK Jr. and Pete Hegseth, and at the time, Matt Gaetz. Give me Rubio. Yeah, let me get that Rubio. Matter of fact, let me get 2 Rubios. Can we just get a bunch of Rubios? Just all Rubios. I know Elon got the AI and whatnot. Can we just get all Rubios? I would take it. I would take it.
Joining us in the gallery tonight is a young man who truly loves our police. His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old, and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer.
Now, in future generations, when they are asking to synthesize MAGA in a nutshell, there's a litany of examples, but every instance has its own perfect one, and this would be it. It would be using this child and his battle against cancer as a prop while you simultaneously cut funding for child cancer research. You also put him in a uniform as a police officer after you have pardoned the J6 hostages. That is MAGA. That is, Oh, it got worse. That's right. He then started talking about increasing rates of cancer because of exposure to chemicals when he cut funding for the EPA. That is that's MAGA. That is MAGA. It is about the show. And Democrats, even though I know y'all were long gone by now, I hope y'all paying attention. Cause Because truth be damned in 25.
By the standard of any politician in Washington who is not Donald Trump, that was still an extremely dishonest speech. I counted at least 13 flat false claims, and that is a preliminary count that doesn't include a whole bunch of additional misleading or uncorroborated claims. He, for example, repeated his false claim that foreign countries like China pay his tariffs, though Americans make those tariff payments. He wildly exaggerated figures on inflation and immigration under President Biden. He claimed to have terminated something called the Green New Scam, even though the Green New Deal congressional resolution was never actually passed, and Trump has not repealed the big environmental law that President Biden did pass. There's a lot more, as you said. You can read our full list on CNN.com. But now I want to go into detail on an important and eye-catching claim that was highly misleading. The president talked at length about millions of people being listed as alive in a Social Security database, even though they're obviously dead. Listen.
3.9 million people from ages 130 to 139. 3.5 million people from ages 140 to 149. And money is being paid to many of them because it just keeps getting paid and nobody does. And it really hurts Social Security and hurts our country. And one person is listed at 360 years of age, more than 100 years older than our country.
I've spoken to conservative experts about this claim, and they've noted, Jake, that the president is leaving out something absolutely critical to understanding this issue. Here's what he failed to explain. These numbers are not the numbers of dead people who are actually getting paid Social Security checks. Trump was referring to a legitimate problem with some deaths not being marked in the Social Security database, but that doesn't mean people listed as being 150, 200, 300 are actually getting money. And that's because Social Security already has a system in place to automatically cut off people who are listed as being 115 or older. Now, 2 years ago, an inspector general looked into this. She found there were about 19 million people 100 or older who were not marked as deceased. But critically, she also found that only 44,000 of these people were actually receiving payments. And one conservative expert told me even those 44K are likely legit payments, since at the time there were about 86,000 living Americans age 100 or older.
Matter of fact, Democrats, who y'all got who's doing a rebuttal? All right, because it is not an easy job. I've highlighted that before. So choose wisely.
That's actually a line he stole from Ronald Reagan. But let me tell you, after the spectacle that just took place in the Oval Office last week, Reagan must be rolling in his grave. We all want an end to the war in Ukraine, but Reagan understood that true strength required America to combine our military and economic might with moral clarity. And that scene in the Oval Office wasn't just a bad episode of reality TV. It summed up Trump's whole approach to the world. He believes in cozying up to dictators like Vladimir Putin and kicking our friends like the Canadians in the teeth. He sees American leadership as merely a series of real estate transactions. As a Cold War kid, I'm thankful it was Reagan and not Trump in office in the 1980s. Trump would have lost us the Cold War. That was
pretty good, but just, I feel like she could have said it a little bit more succinct. You know what I mean? I feel like, just a little punch in there.
First of all, thank you for making the back of my head famous. But second of all, if we could do a sequel, if you could tell Donald Trump anything tonight, what would you tell him?
I would tell him to grow a spine and stop being Putin's hoe.
Wait a minute. What was that?
I would tell him to grow a spine and stop being Putin's hoe.
There it is. That's the rebuttal right there. You should have just had her come out and say that. And then when they're asked to play the rebuttal, they would have had to play that. That's how you play that game, Democrats. Let that be the official rebuttal. That is it. By the way, he did say making the back of my head famous. What was he referring to?
If you could speak directly to Elon Musk, what would you say?
Fuck off.
That's it.
I thought I knew that head. Yeah, I thought I knew that head. Yeah, That same. Yeah. I understood that. Now, I feel though a little, because we started with the Reverend. We started with the Reverend. You know what I mean? We started with a sermon, and we ended with Putin's hoe. You know what I mean? Like, can we go back to church just on the way out? Just on the way out. So I know that I'm saved at the end of this video. Can you take us out, Reverend Boebert?
To allow them to do what they want, to take America to the golden age. Bannon said that this is war, all-out war. He said that their plan was to target 4,000 federal jobs, specifically, just like they targeted 2,900 precincts in the election, to target 4,000 federal jobs because those 4,000 federal jobs control the other 10 million. And that 10 million controls a $5.5 trillion budget, and that budget is connected to $75 trillion in assets. My friends, they're not playing. This is not a time just for cute bumper sticker protest. Our faith traditions and moral traditions provide a firm foundation upon which to stand against the divide and conquer strategies of these extremists. In this moment, like never before, we must believe in a moral agenda that stands against systemic racism, labor exploitation, poverty, xenophobia, and any attempt to promote hate toward any members of the human family. We must be openly and deeply disturbed by the Trump, Musk, Johnson Republican agenda and never separate them. They're all one. One for all and all for one.